collectible spot, we are having a look at the Sideshow Collectibles Star Wars Jango Fett 1/6 scale collectible figure. As soon as Sideshow had released photos of what this guy was going to look like, definitely wanted to pick him up. If you guys are interested in getting Jango Fett for yourself, look no further. You can head over to sideshowcollectibles.com and get yours today. The figure package itself carries over the same color motif as we've seen with the other Star Wars 6 scale figures. Mainly a black box with side accents of a dark gray, and we've got 6 scale down below. Side of the package features another pose of the Jango Fett 6 scale figure. As well, once again, spin it around again, and we've got Jango Fett with one of his blasters in hand. Finally, the beauty of the 6 scale figures from Sideshow is you can open it up, remove the tissue paper that's there, and you can see Jango Fett in all his glory with his multiple weapons, hands, and other accessories. And I like that they've given him a couple of thruster effects for his jetpack. Super excited to get this guy opened up. That being said, Spot's going to take a break. Going to get Jango out of packaging, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Sideshow Collectibles Star Wars Jango Fett. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. The first thing that we will have a look at, of course, when it comes to Jango Fett, is his included display stand. Now, while his stand does not actually say Jango Fett anywhere on there, I gotta say it's still a nice looking top print. Again, I kind of wish it would have said Jango Fett, but that's okay. It has I guess the hexagonal shape that we've seen with other Sideshow pieces, and there's a hole in the top. The genius thing that Sideshow's done with their display stand, at least when it came to Jango Fett, is that you get something that looks like this when it comes to the neck. Far different than what we've seen in the past, and the beauty of something like this is it has multiple components, different ways that you can display Jango. For starters, we can go ahead and pull the lower tube out, and that snaps just at the bottom like so. Then we can go ahead and take, you'll see there's 2 clips. One clip is for the waist, one clip is for in between the legs. And we can take this one off, peg this in just slide it into the slot groove there, and you have a standard display stand. And from there you can take Jango Fett and of course sit him on top of the display stand as you would normally do with a 6 scale figure. However, what you can also do too is take the figure off, take the clip off, the waist clip once again, or the crotch clip as I say it, take the tube once again and add it to the bottom of the main base, or the main shaft of the neck here. Peg this into place. Then we can take the clip once again, fit that into place. And you can take something then that allows you to display Jango Fett in flight mode. I'll show you guys that how that works in a second, but it's cool that I've never seen that before from a 6 scale figure. That's really, really neat. And we'll just move that out of the way. Because there really is so much to look at for Jango Fett, one thing I would suggest too is have a look at the assembly instructions that come included with the 6 scale figure. It shows you how to adjust for the individual bases, how to adjust for the flight poses, and how to adjust out the different heads and accessories. Now this particular one that Spot ended up picking up does not actually have the interchangeable head, the exclusive head that would have been featured as well. And I just got the standard version, but that's okay, because personally, I think he looks just fine. I would never really display Jango Fett without his helmet. That's really like displaying Darth Vader without his helmet. It's just not something you would do. I'm perfectly fine with just displaying him as you see here. The general consensus, I'm sure, when it comes to Star Wars, the original prequels, that is, from fans, is they weren't very good. Though they had things about them that were good in the movie, my personal thing that I really liked about the original prequels was Jango Fett. I've always really loved to look at Boba Fett and being able to kind of see his origins and, of course, see his daddy. That was very cool for me, and I always liked the design of Boba Fett. Seeing Jango wearing that same outfit was very cool indeed. Now, of course, his coloring is a little bit different than what Boba would inherit, He's got more of the silvers, more a pristine armor than the scuffed up armor that we would see with Boba. But I think as a 6 scale figure goes, it's really a remarkable piece. There are a few things that I want to just point out though, and when it comes to his armor, he's wearing a purple undershirt or undersuit, and then all his armor essentially is over top of that. Areas such as his knees, as well as his shin guards, you will no doubt, as you're moving the figure, find that a lot of these pieces may pop off. Don't be alarmed. It's supposed to pop off, and they very easily snap just back into place. But you will find yourself probably on a couple of times moving the figure and finding the knees, the kneecaps, the shin guards, and even the thigh plates coming off. But again, it's something that will happen. They snap very easily back into place. Jango's head, though, again, covered by his helmet, is very immaculately detailed. Yeah, granted, it's only really the gunmetal gray, and then he's got this darker blue as around his visor area, but still done very nicely indeed. He has the front scope that can also lower down, but I'd be more inclined to probably just keep it straight up. Now, you probably will say to yourself, hey, wait a minute, Spot, there's something missing from Jango here. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something missing from this 6 scale figure. If you are thinking the answer is backpack, you would be correct. Jango Fett actually gives you 2 backpacks, or Sideshow Collectibles gives you 2 backpacks for Jango Fett. One more a blue color scheme with some silver accents. The other one has the inclusion of this beige color as well. They are also slightly different from one another too, whereas the bottom thrusters do look very similar. However, the top sections, the extendable tops, this one does not have this section, nor can this be extended. The other one, on the other hand, has the extendable tip that you can take his missile and you can peg that just in the top. And it's a bit of a tighter fit, but you just want to apply a little bit of pressure. There we go. And you got something that looks like that. You could go with either one, really, but I kind of think I lean a little more towards the one with the extended missile tip. It just screams more a Fett item than the retractable, but you can really go with either one of them. There's little hooks on the back sides here, as you can see, and this one also has it. What you need to do is take Jango here, flip him around, and he's got these little tab sections on the back. You see these little areas here? What you need to do is take the backpack and you need to hook those over those little grooves. It's not very easy at first, but once you gauge where those the little slots are, you just want to take that and slide it into place. In fact, an even easier approach that I could suggest to you is the tabs flip up. I would say flip those up first, then with your finger you can line up where the backpack will slot itself into. And then when you've got the one side fixed, raise the tab out on the other side, flip that down, and there goes the knapsack attached to his back. The knapsack definitely completes the look, if you ask me. I think it just fills out the figure. It gives him some extra mass at the back, and it just screams more Boba / Jango Fett by incorporating the backpack. To give Jango's Z6 backpack just a little extra oomph, the folks over at Sideshow also give you a couple of fire attachments to plug into place. I think that gives it a little extra displaying options, especially if you're going to have him in flight mode. You want to incorporate a little bit of fire coming out from that backpack. The rocket pack, I wish could have attached a little bit different to Jango's back. It seems like an opportunity where they could have put a magnet there, where you could have just taken the backpack and stuck it on versus having to try to fit it over these little backs, little tabs here. Also too, I found when attaching the fire, one side has a little narrow peg. This one, for some reason, uses a square peg. And I had to take a knife and just shave down that little bottom peg here. Just shave it down enough to fit it into place because it didn't seem like it wanted to fit on its own. Felt like the peg point was just a little too broad to fit into the little nook, little hole that's in there. In fact, I might even have to shave it just a little bit more to fit it, to make sure it doesn't come out at all. Revisiting though the very cool display stand that they come included with Jango here, you can see how I've incorporated it with the figure. The lower pronged support is basically just like the standard prong that you get on the a standing figure stand. However, the top clip goes around his waist. In fact, I might have even had it a little higher up. It could lower it just a little bit more. You can see how it incorporates Jango in something a little bit more than just him straight out standing. And especially when you incorporate then the blasters that we're going to be looking at in a second, is really when you can make Jango here a fantastic display piece. So let's go ahead and look at some other Jango's accessories. He comes ablazing with two blasters, very small blasters, exactly like how he had in the movie. They're not quite silver. In fact, the handles themselves are more of a matte gray. It's only really the barrels themselves that are that metallic silver, and he's got a couple of accent areas there that almost are in a gold color. You can go ahead and take the blasters and do one of two things with them. You, of course, can display them in his hand, or if you want, you can also slide them down these side holsters on his legs. The leg holsters are a faux, almost a faux leather material, and they're strapped through the lower armored piece of his torso, and it looks great. I mean, they've done a lot of extra stuff there. The fact that they would have threaded through a belt strap as opposed to, you know, have had this one piece shows definitely their level of detail. Speaking of level of detail, though, he does have pockets on the fronts, but none of the pockets are open, or something that can be opened on Jango's front. I guess this would house his various darts and maybe his ammunition and whatnot, but none of which are removable or something that can be opened up. They're just stitched shut. Further adding to the level of coolness for Jango Fett, Sideshow Collectibles also gives you some smoke. You can add smoke to the actual guns. Very cool. You also get a couple of extra fire blasts that be used also with his blasters. But of course, to incorporate that, we need some extra hands. Jango gets himself an extra 2 pairs of hands, 4 hands in total. Hands ranging from like blaster hands, ones of course blasters with triggers, more partially closed hands, partially relaxed palms. He gets an assortment of 4 extra. Now, just before we put the blasters into his hand, I just want to show you how the attachments work with the guns. There's a hole on the end of both of them, and you can either swap them out with, let me just plug that into place, a fiery blast, or unpeg that, plug in the smoke effect. You could have both guns like this, or you can mix and match it, have one firing, and maybe the other one he is just shot. So the different results could vary depending on how you want to have them displayed. I've never seen smoke as something that could be added to a gun. I think that's a really neat effect. Yes, definitely incorporating the smoke coming out of the guns is my preferred look. I think it just elevates that figure to level 12 coolness. That is out of 10. Still, you could incorporate the fire or the actual blasting coming out of the guns, but I kind of dig this look a little bit more, as if you don't really know what kind of firefight Jango has just emerged from, but he's sitting there ever so cool and smoke coming out of his guns. I definitely think I prefer this look much more. The final thing we'll want to look at for Jango Fett is the included poncho that comes with the figure. Now for this, I've gone ahead and I've removed the jetpack just because I think it's going to be an obstruction for getting the poncho on. We're going to go ahead and take the head, just pop it off the neck socket, and you can see the inner workings of the helmet. There's nothing really in there other than the sculpt on the figure itself. Well, on the figure's helmet itself. Kind of, if you want to be silly, you could leave the head off and have Jango look like he did at the end of episode 2, but we won't do that. Go ahead and take the poncho, just drape that over his shoulders like so, and go ahead and add the head back into place. It gives him an extra little bit of, you know, displaying options by incorporating the poncho. I'm not super crazy about it, to be honest. I just don't think it's an okay look, but it's kind of the equivalent of Thor's look from the Dark World, where he had the option to put that over top. But as cool as his armor is, I really would not cover it by including this over top of the figure. But it's nice that they would incorporate it. It's just not something I would add to the figure when I'm displaying it. When it comes to Jango Fett's articulation, his head moves very easily left and right, and he's also got the ball joint hinge right at the base of the neck. Shoulders hinge out very easily. He has a bend in the elbow. Actually, he has a double bend in the elbow, but the one thing you will notice when you start bending the elbow, the little tubes that come out, and they're coming out from the base of his sleeve, you will find these come out and slide out of their sleeve area, and you might just want to find yourself tucking those back in, you know, once you have the arms straight again. He has a swivel point in the torso. Also, it appears that he's got a crunch too. Legs hinge forward and back, out. He has a swivel point in the thigh. And remember, we were discussing before, when you start moving the leg area, you might find the shin guard and the knee guard more so. You might find them to be popping off regularly. Just easily peg them back into place. And finally, he has a hinge ball joint in his foot. Truly, one of the best aspects of the original prequels, and I say the original prequels, episode 1, 2, and 3. Truly, though, the best thing about the prequels, in my personal opinion, was Jango Fett. Truthfully, he didn't make it through the whole trilogy and sadly met a demise. However, his lasting impression is still something that I enjoy the most when I go back and watch episode 2. It certainly is not the love affair between Anakin and Padme, that's probably furthest from it, but I did love Jango Fett ever so much. Sideshow has done a fantastic job on this figure. In fact, Jango Fett could easily be one of my favorite 6-scale figures of the Star Wars property that Sideshow has done. Of course, they have done other Star Wars figures, but I don't know, there's just something about Jango that I just absolutely love. If you guys also love Jango Fett and like to add this guy to your collection, you can click the link down below and order him today from Sideshow Collectibles. Today's collectible spot, we were having a look at the 6-scale figure from the Star Wars Episode 2 movie. We're looking today at Jango Fett. Certainly stay tuned though, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.